25,000 years ago, advanced beings known as the Elohim from another planet arrived on Earth.
Oh boy, here we go.
Their mission, to create life using their mastery of DNA. If this sounds crazy, just wait until you hear the rest. Hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications.
Because you don't want to miss a second of this cosmic joyride.
Seriously, folks, those notifications are like the bad signal for your brain.
They let you know when we're dropping some fresh, mind-blowing content.
And trust me, you don't want to be the last one on your block to know about the Elohim. Let's jump into the episode.
Okay.
Okay, before you think we've gone full Ancient Aliens on you, let's dive into something really wild. Raelism. Let's start at the beginning, shall we? Back in 1973, a French race car driver named Claude Vorilhon had an experience that would change his life forever.
Or, maybe you just had a bit too much wine and a very vivid imagination.
I mean, come on, who hasn't had a close encounter with a bottle of Bordeaux that made them question reality? So who is this speed demon turned spiritual guru?
Well, meet Claude Vorilhon.
Who later decided to change his name to Rael.
Okay.
Because why not?
Why not?
Because every prophet needs a good stage name. Much more mystical, don't you think?
Of course.
He claims his extraterrestrial adventures started way back in 1961. But things really got going in 1973 when he says he had this epic encounter with the Elohim.
That's right, those who came from the sky. In Hebrew, no less.
In France, no less.
Very chic, right.
Okay.
And suddenly, a spaceship appears.
Cue the dramatic music.
And out steps an extraterrestrial being calling itself Yahweh.
No, hold on a minute, Yahweh, as in the God of the Old Testament. Did somebody forget to tell these aliens that we already have a Yahweh?
Well, this Yahweh is a little different, shall we say. This Yahweh is an alien from a super advanced civilization known as the Elohim.
The Elohim. Sounds like a new brand of organic granola.
And they're not just here for a friendly visit. They created us.
You mean like designed us, engineered us?
Right.
Were we talking about some kind of cosmic science fair project?
Pretty much.
So this alien is claiming to be the big guy upstairs. And he decided to make a pit stop at a volcano to chat with a race car driver about the origins of humanity.
Right.
Seriously, these folks make Scientology look like a book club.
It's true.
I'm not sure if I should be laughing or checking the sky for flying saucers.
I know, right? It's like, what was in the water in France back then?
But hey, if you're loving this wild ride through the outer limits of belief, we've got a whole galaxy of mind-blowing content coming your way.
Make sure to hit that like button.
And share it with your friends.
Spread the word.
Let's see if we can get Yahweh and the Elohim trending on Twitter.
No, that's a hashtag I'd love to see. Apparently, Yahweh felt a topless Rael was the perfect candidate to spread this cosmic truth.
Right, because when you want to deliver a profound spiritual message, you naturally gravitate toward the guy who's most comfortable in his birthday suit.
Well, that's the foundation of Raelism. They believe the Elohim created life on Earth through genetic engineering 25,000 years ago. Humans were essentially the Elohim's science project.
So we're all just lab rats in a giant cosmic experiment. That's a blow to the ego, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm starting to think these Elohim don't have a very high opinion of us humans.
Well, they did create us in a lab, so maybe they know something we don't.
Fair point.
Yeah. But before we get too existential, let's get back to Rael and his little chat with the Elohim.
So this Yahweh dude, the alien one,
Right.
not the biblical one.
Right, to be clear.
He basically tells Rael that he's been chosen to be their prophet.
Their prophet. That's a pretty big promotion for a race car driver.
That's like trading in your racing helmet for a tinfoil hat. But hey, maybe he just got tired of test driving Ferraris. Maybe they figured he was used to going fast and taking risks. If you're going to start a new religion based on alien encounters...
Might as well pick a prophet who's already used to breaking the sound barrier.
Exactly. Got to keep things exciting.
Plus, he probably already had a cool helmet and jumpsuit.
Perfect for that prophet chic look. I guess the volcano doubled as a test track for his spaceship joyride. But enough about his midlife crisis. Who were these aliens he claims to have met?
Well, according to Rael, these extraterrestrial beings, known as the Elohim, they're more like super advanced scientists than deities.
Okay. So they're like cosmic gardeners with a PhD in genetic engineering. I mean, it's one way to explain those awkward family genes. But wait, there's more. These Elohim have supposedly been dropping by Earth throughout history, inspiring religions, and handing out technology like cosmic party favors. Did they swing by Moses for a quick chat about those commandments? Maybe Jesus got a ride in a UFO, instead of that donkey.
Raelians don't exactly follow traditional religious doctrines. They see figures like Jesus, Buddha, and Muhammad as messengers sent by the Elohim. transhumans tasked with spreading knowledge and preparing humanity for their eventual return.
Wait, so Jesus was just some dude who got a cosmic upgrade? Like a beta tester for the Elohim's grand plan. And Buddha, was he just chilling under a tree one day when an alien spaceship landed and offered him some enlightenment tips? I mean, come on.
It's definitely a unique interpretation of religious history, to say the least. They believe these figures received advanced knowledge and abilities from the Elohim, allowing them to perform miracles and deliver profound teachings.
How do they explain, like, the whole evolution thing? You know, fossils, dinosaurs, that whole messy business. Did the Elohim just like skip a few steps in their science project?
Well, Raelians interpret these scientific discoveries through their own unique lens. They might argue that fossils represent earlier experiments by the Elohim, perhaps failed attempts at creating the perfect human form. It's a way for them to reconcile scientific evidence with their core belief in extraterrestrial creation.
Right, because nothing screams scientific like ignoring centuries of research and evidence.
Right.
But hey, I guess that's what makes them so special.
The Raelian Movement has thousands of followers worldwide.
Yeah, it's wild. People are actually buying into this alien creation story.
Yeah, it's amazing what people will believe.
I know, right? It really makes you think.
It does.
Speaking of buying into things.
Yes.
Have you hit that subscribe button yet? You know the algorithm loves it when you show your support.
Oh, yes, please do subscribe. And,
tell your friends.
Tell your friends, tell your family.
Your pets.
Your pets, tell everyone.
Your neighbors.
Tell your neighbors.
Spread the word.
Spread the word.
You don't want to miss out on our next deep dive into the bizarre and fascinating world of, well, let's just call them unconventional belief systems.
We've got some really good ones coming up.
Well, we do.
So stay tuned.
But back to the Elohim. This is where things get really interesting. Or should I say, weird.
Oh, you know it's about to get weird.
Geniocracy.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, you heard that right. So basically, a world ruled by Stephen Hawking, Marie Curie, and that kid who won the National Spelling Bee. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I mean, geniuses are great and all, but who's going to make sure the trains run on time? Or that we have enough pizza to fuel those late-night policy debates?
Important questions indeed. Rael believes that only the most intelligent and competent individuals should be in charge.
A world ruled by Mensa members. Sounds great in theory. No more reality TV only documentaries and scientific debates. But wouldn't that just create a new kind of elite? The IQ elite? I'm not sure how well that would go over with the less intellectually gifted among us.
But hey, at least it would make for some interesting political debates.
Imagine the campaign slogans. Vote for me. I have an IQ of 160.
Or, I'm so smart, I can solve a Rubik's Cube with my feet.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to win over the average voter.
But Rael argues that geniocracy is the only way to create a truly rational and efficient society.
And what about all the average folks like me? Are we just going to be cosmic peasants serving our intellectually superior overlords?
Don't worry, they haven't started handing out IQ tests at the door yet.
That's a relief. What if my idea of a genius is different from yours?
Good question. And honestly, the sources are pretty vague on the details.
It's like they just threw the word out there and hoped nobody would ask.
Maybe.
Maybe they're just waiting for the Elohim to come back and, sort it all out.
Could be.
Looks like I need to start brushing up on my quantum physics and differential equations if I want to have a say in how things are run. Because who needs democracy or human rights when you have a bunch of brainiacs running the show, right?
I mean, that's their thinking, yeah.
I can already see the headlines now. Geniocracy gone wild. World ruled by nerds with god complexes and an unhealthy obsession with Sudoku puzzles.
It definitely raises some questions about elitism and who gets to decide what constitutes genius. And wouldn't such a system potentially lead to the suppression of dissenting voices and alternative perspectives?
Exactly. And what about compassion, empathy, and all those other squishy human qualities that don't necessarily correlate with IQ scores?
It's a point worth considering.
It's like they're trying to create a perfect world on paper, but forgetting that humans are, humans. We're messy, emotional, unpredictable creatures. You can't just plug us into an equation and expect everything to work out perfectly. Now, before we get too deep into the potential pitfalls of alien-inspired governance,
Sure.
Let's take a moment to acknowledge that the Raelians have some pretty interesting ideas about personal development and spirituality. We're talking thousands of members in dozens of countries.
It's a mix of things, really. Rael himself seems to have a certain charisma, and he does seem to have a rather high opinion of himself. In fact, he claims to be the latest in a long line of prophets sent by the Elohim.
It's a bold claim.
It is. He even claims to be related to Jesus.
Hold up.
Yeah.
Same dad?
The same father.
Is this a celestial soap opera?
The Elohim Yahweh.
Wow.
It's a bold claim that positions Rael within a lineage of prophets,
Okay.
drawing parallels to figures from established religions.
Can you imagine the audacity? It's like he looked at the all-star lineup of spiritual leaders and was like, yeah, I can totally join that club.
Right. If you're going to claim you've got the Elohim on speed dial, you might as well aim for the top, right?
What are the core beliefs of these Raelism folks anyway? Besides the whole spaceship chauffeur service for religious figures, of course.
Well, they've got some pretty interesting interpretations of biblical stories.
Like what?
Well, take Noah's Ark, for example. In the Raelian version, the flood wasn't just some natural disaster. It was actually a nuclear apocalypse caused by humanity's own stupidity.
Okay, that's dark.
And Noah's Ark wasn't just a big boat full of animals. It was a spaceship sent by the Elohim to collect DNA samples and save humanity from self-destruction.
So basically a cosmic backup plan.
Exactly.
What about other biblical stories?
The Tower of Babel is another one. In the Raelian version, it wasn't just a tower. It was a rocket ship that humans were trying to build to reach the Elohim's home planet. But the Elohim weren't too thrilled about this idea. They thought humans weren't ready for that level of cosmic contact.
So they pulled the plug on the project?
Basically. They scattered humanity and confused their languages so they couldn't communicate and finish the rocket ship.
Sounds like something I would do to my kids if they were trying to build a rocket in the backyard. No way are you launching that thing without adult supervision.
Exactly.
It's all starting to make sense now.
They also place a strong emphasis on sensuality and personal freedom, extending the concept of free love to a whole new level.
Hold on, free love taken to a whole new level. Ooh la la. Things are about to get spicy. But don't worry, folks. We'll keep it PG rated. Mostly. Although little birdie told me they have this thing called the Happiness Academy. Sounds intriguing, right? Click that notification bell. You won't want to miss this.
The Happiness Academy is a week-long seminar that incorporates meditation lectures and sensual exploration.
Sounds like my kind of retreat. I'm sensing a new spring break destination. But seriously, folks, if aliens created us, maybe they have some pretty out there ideas about fun. Don't forget to subscribe for more juicy details. And tell your friends the algorithm gods are always hungry. Okay, so back to the fun stuff. Let's peel back the layers of this cosmic onion and see what strange delights await us. First up on our agenda, sensual meditation. I have so many questions and a slight sense of apprehension.
You mean the cosmic orgasms?
Yeah, among other things, the Raelians believe that sensual meditation is a way to connect with the Elohim.
And to experience a state of pure bliss.
Bliss. I'm pretty sure there's an app for that now.
But seriously, folks, they emphasize the importance of pleasure and sensuality.
They believe that our bodies are temples.
Temples of pleasure, that is.
And that we should celebrate our sexuality in all its forms.
They advocate for sexual freedom, including polygamy and exploring various sexual orientations.
Yeah, it sounds like someone's been watching a little too much late-night cable TV.
Maybe.
But hey, if they're finding enlightenment through, let's just say, unorthodox methods,
Right.
who are we to judge?
Yeah.
As long as everyone's consenting and having a good time, right?
Sure.
Maybe they should just rename it Cosmic Cuddle Puddle and call it a day.
Haha. I like it.
Don't worry, folks. We'll get to the juicy details in a bit. But first, a word from our sponsors. Just kidding. We don't have any sponsors. But if you're enjoying this deep dive into the bizarre world of Raelism, why not spread the love and share it with your friends?
Hey.
Okay, back to the sensual meditation.
It's important to understand that for Raelians, sensual meditation is a method to connect with the universe through pleasure and achieve a heightened state of awareness. They believe it's a gift from the Elohim.
A gift from the Elohim? Huh? Well, that's one way to look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, turns out that might have been more about Rael's needs than anyone's spiritual enlightenment.
Right. The accusations against Rael are pretty disturbing. We're talking about manipulation, coercion, and potentially even abuse. Young women were particularly vulnerable, often told that being intimate with Rael was a form of spiritual growth. It's a classic case of a powerful leader taking advantage of his followers.
Ugh, it's giving me the creeps just thinking about it. Come on, using your supposed connection to aliens to get your groove on, that's just plain sleazy.
And it raises some serious ethical questions about consent and abuse of power. When you have a figure like Rael who's seen as a prophet, a direct link to a higher power, it creates a really dangerous dynamic.
It's like, hey, want to get closer to God? Well, lucky for you, God looks a lot like me and has a thing for sensual meditation. I mean, how do you even argue with that?
You don't. That's the point. These women were often isolated from their families and friends, completely dependent on Rael and his teachings. They were told that anyone who questioned him was just jealous or unenlightened. It's a textbook cult tactic. Create an echo chamber where your word is law.
And let's not forget about the allegations of grooming and manipulating underage girls. I mean, that's where things get really dark and criminal. It's important to note that Rael and his organization have denied all of these allegations, but the sheer number of accusations and the consistency of the stories is pretty damning.
Absolutely. This isn't just a few disgruntled ex-members with an axe to grind. This is a pattern of behavior that's been documented over decades.
It's a sobering reminder that even movements that start with peace, love, and aliens can quickly turn sour when power goes unchecked. So how does one become a Raelian anyway? Is there like an initiation ritual? Do you have to pass a test on alien trivia? Or maybe build a replica UFO out of tinfoil?
It's not quite that elaborate, but they have this ritual called the transmission of the cellular plan. It's basically a baptism, but instead of holy water, they use regular water and a touch to transmit your DNA configuration to an extraterrestrial computer.
Wait, hold up, let me get this straight. They think they can send your DNA to an alien computer using water and a poke on the forehead.
You got it.
It's like a sci-fi version of those psychic surgery scams.
It's a fascinating blend of scientific terminology and what can only be described as magical thinking. But hey, if you're already buying into the whole alien creator thing, why not throw in some telepathic DNA transmission for good measure?
All right, it's all part of the package deal. But what's the point of transmitting your DNA to this cosmic computer?
So, according to Rael, this cosmic computer is how the Elohim keep tabs on their creations. It's like a giant database of human DNA.
Okay, so like backing up your files to the cloud, but instead of photos and documents, it's your entire genetic code. Makes sense. Gotta keep those backups somewhere safe, right? So after you get this cosmic energy download, do they give you a welcome packet, maybe a Raelian starter kit with like a decoder ring and a set of those glow-in-the-dark star stickers?
Maybe. But they are very serious about their beliefs, and they're dedicated to spreading their message.
I'm picturing these aliens sitting around their spaceship, scrolling through human DNA profiles like it's Tinder for extraterrestrials. This one's got a predisposition for lactose intolerant swipe left.
Exactly.
So the Raelians, they believe it's the real deal.
They do.
They claim that these transmissions happen on specific dates with cosmic significance,
Right.
linking them to events like Rael's first encounter with the Elohim.
Yes.
And get this,
What?
his alleged meeting with Jesus and Buddha on a spaceship.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about an intergalactic summit.
That's one for the books.
Okay, now you're just messing with me.
I'm not, I promise.
A spaceship summit with Jesus Buddha and an alien race car driver turned prophet.
What a party.
Someone needs to pitch this to Netflix.
I agree.
But hey, if you're digging these out of this world revelations, you're in the right place.
Absolutely.
Hit that subscribe button on Cult Report for more mind-blowing deep dives into the weirdest corners of human belief.
Do it.
Don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss a single episode of cosmic craziness.
So true.
So back to these DNA swapping aliens. What's the supposed purpose of beaming up our genetic blueprints?
Right.
Are they collecting data for some intergalactic ancestry.com?
You know, that's a good question.
I mean, what do they want with our DNA?
Your guess is as good as mine.
Really?
The Raelians are a bit vague on the specifics.
Okay.
But they do claim that this DNA collection is all part of a grand plan to ensure the survival of humanity. They believe that the Elohim will use this information to create clones of us.
Ensuring our immortality and allowing us to continue evolving even after our physical bodies kick the bucket. But hold on, if
Yes.
these aliens are so advanced, why do they need our DNA to create clones?
That's a good point.
Can't they just whip up some humans from scratch with their fancy cosmic technology?
Right.
If you're just joining us, we're deep diving into the world of Raelism, a UFO religion that's full of surprises. And believe me, we've only just scratched the surface. Make sure you're subscribed to the Cult Report podcast and hit that notification bell because things are about to get even more interesting. So the Elohim created us, gave us some cryptic messages in the Bible, and then just took off.
Well, not exactly.
Oh boy, here we go.
Rael says they warned him that humanity is entering an age of apocalypse.
An age of apocalypse. Sounds a bit traumatic, don't you think?
Maybe, but they do say it was triggered by the atomic bomb.
Oh, okay, well that makes a little more sense. But here's the million-dollar question.
Okay.
What have these Elohim been up to for the past 25 millennia?
Yeah.
Sipping cosmic cocktails on their spaceship, watching humanity fumble through history.
Right, like what have they been up to?
It's enough to make you wonder if they're taking bets on whether we'll actually survive long enough to see their grand return.
Yes.
I mean, place your bets, folks.
Okay.
Will humanity self-destruct before 2035?
Good question.
I don't know.
It's certainly a possibility, given our track record.
Yeah.
But let's not get sidetracked by our potential self-inflicted doom.
Okay.
Raelism actually offers a roadmap for avoiding that very outcome. It's all about embracing science reason.
Okay.
And of course, preparing for the glorious return of our alien creators.
2035. Circle that date on your calendar, folks. But it gets even weirder. They believe in something called scientific resurrection.
Right, like a cosmic reboot.
Exactly. So they think the Elohim, they're keeping a backup, like a cosmic hard drive, of all our memories and DNA.
So when they get back, they'll bring everybody back. Good guys, bad guys, everybody.
Even Hitler gets a second chance, apparently.
Though he might not be too happy about it, considering they plan on putting him on trial for war crimes.
Talk about an awkward reunion. But seriously, the whole scientific resurrection thing, it raises so many questions, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely.
Like, what about free will? What if I'm happy with my eternal dirt nap? Do I get a say in the matter?
Excellent questions. And you know what? The sources are pretty vague on those points. It's like they're deliberately leaving things open to interpretation.
Maybe they just want to keep us guessing. But let's be real, folks. Wouldn't it be a bit awkward if the Elohim showed up and humanity was just a chaotic mess of reality TV shows and political squabbles?
Oh, absolutely.
I can imagine them touring their spaceship around and saying, nope, not worth it. Let's try again in another 25,000 years.
Exactly.
But hey, maybe that's just my pessimistic side talking.
Yeah, maybe.
Rael wouldn't want me to think that way.
No, he wouldn't.
He believes that humanity has immense potential, but we need to get our act together.
That's right.
Peace, love, and aliens. It's like a hippie commune crashed into a UFO convention. Deep thoughts, man. Deep thoughts. But let's not get too philosophical here. This is Cult Report Podcast, after all, where we're all about the weird, the wacky, and the slightly disturbing. Speaking of disturbing, we haven't even touched on the Raelian symbol yet. You know, the one that's guaranteed to raise some eyebrows.
Ah, yes, the symbol that shall not be named. Or maybe we should just name it and get it over with.
It features a Star of David intertwined with a swastika.
Yeah.
You know, just a casual combination of two of the most controversial symbols in history.
They claim it represents the unity of opposites and the potential for peace.
Right. I can already imagine the awkward conversations at dinner parties. Oh, this necklace. It's the symbol of my faith. No, not the Nazis, the aliens. But hey, at least they're consistent in their commitment to controversy. They even have a swastika rehabilitation day to try to reclaim the symbol's original meaning.
It's an ambitious goal, to say the least.
Good luck with that. Like trying to rebrand cyanide as a health supplement.
Right. Some things you just can't rebrand.
You'd think a group led by super intelligent aliens would understand that.
Maybe their definition of intelligence is different from ours.
Good point. It's like they hired a marketing team from another planet, literally.
Yeah. Trying to separate the swastika from its association with Nazi ideology is a monumental task, and one that has been met with understandable resistance.
Talk about a PR nightmare. It's like trying to rebrand the KKK as a friendly neighborhood watch group. It's just not going to work.
I know. That's going to be a tough sell.
I think so.
Maybe they're just trying to get attention, which, let's face it, they've definitely achieved.
Right. We all know a good controversy never hurt anyone, especially when you're trying to get people talking about your new religion.
Exactly. It's all about publicity.
Right.
Speaking of getting people talking,
don't forget to leave a comment and let us know your thoughts on Raelism.
Yes, we want to hear from you.
Is it a harmless spiritual movement?
A clever publicity stunt?
Or something a little more out there?
Let us know.
We want to hear from you, and while you're at it, why not hit that like button and share this episode with your friends?
Yes, please do.
Let's spread the word about Cult Report Podcast and all the weird and wonderful things we explore.
We love exploring the weird stuff.
We do.
So join us.
But for now, stay tuned for more Raelian revelations.
Okay.
Let's talk about their most ambitious project, building an embassy for the Elohim. Because, of course, they need a place to park their spaceships when they come back for a visit.
It's a core part of their mission. They believe constructing a physical embassy in Jerusalem is essential to welcome the Elohim upon their return to Earth.
Wait, they're actually serious about this embassy. I thought it was just a metaphor like open your heart to the Elohim kind of thing. They're actually planning a welcome wagon complete with a cosmic red carpet.
They are actively raising funds and seeking diplomatic recognition for the project.
Have they actually broken ground yet?
They haven't actually broken ground yet, mostly because no country has been willing to donate land for this unique project.
Shocker, world leaders aren't lining up to hand over prime real estate to a group that thinks they're going to be cloned by aliens.
It's tough out there for a prophet.
So are they giving up?
Well, the Raelians remain optimistic.
Okay.
They believe that once humanity embraces Rael's message of peace, love, and scientific advancement, the world will welcome the Elohim and their embassy with open arms.
Who knows? Maybe they're right. Maybe one day we'll all be living in a world where humans and aliens coexist peacefully, swapping technology and sharing cosmic wisdom. Or maybe we'll all be enslaved by our robot overlords. Either way, it's going to be wild.
That's for sure.
Do they have any idea where they're going to build this thing?
Yeah.
Real estate prices these days are astronomical even for aliens. Imagine trying to get a building permit for an intergalactic embassy. The paperwork alone would be out of this world.
Well, the location has been a bit of a sticking point. They've been trying to secure land in Jerusalem for this embassy since the 1970s.
Jerusalem, with that swastika symbol. I don't think they're going to be getting a warm welcome. Maybe they should try Roswell, New Mexico instead.
Yeah, it's definitely an ambitious project.
Right.
The embassy is supposed to be a symbol of our acceptance, that we're ready to reconnect with our alien creators.
I can already picture it. Welcome to Earth, Elohim. We've got fresh towels, a fully stocked minibar, and a complimentary copy of Rael's greatest hits. Just don't mind the mess. We're still working on achieving world peace and getting rid of those pesky nuclear weapons.
Yeah, they believe that humanity needs to prove itself worthy of the Elohim's return by creating a peaceful and harmonious society.
Right, because nothing says peaceful and harmonious like a group that advocates for geniocracy and tries to rehabilitate the swastika. They're really nailing that whole PR thing, aren't they?
Well, their methods might be unconventional, but their message does seem to resonate with some people.
Yeah, I guess the allure of alien creators, eternal life, and guilt-free sex can be pretty tempting, especially if you're feeling lost or disillusioned with traditional religions and societal norms.
It makes sense, yeah. They offer a sense of community, purpose, and belonging, and let's not forget the promise of immortality through cloning.
Oh yeah, the cloning thing. Can you imagine discussing the meaning of life with a bunch of super intelligent aliens? So what did you guys think of the ending of War and Peace?
They probably wouldn't be impressed with our human literature.
Yeah, they'd probably be like, you call that a plot twist? We've seen galaxies collide.
Now that's a thought.
Stay tuned, folks. It's only going to get weirder from here. But in the meantime, let's not forget about our own little corner of the internet.
That's right, folks. If you're enjoying this deep dive into the bizarre world of Raelism, don't forget to show us some love.
Yes. Hit that like button, leave a comment, share this episode with your friends, family, pets, anyone who will listen.
Let's make the algorithm work for us. Show the internet that you're not afraid of a little bit of weirdness.
And who knows, maybe the Elohim are watching and taking notes.
They might even offer us a ride on their spaceship.
Now that's a subscriber perk I could get behind.
That would be amazing. Speaking of advanced civilizations, one of the things that makes Raelism so fascinating is their focus on transhumanism.
Transhumanism, yeah.
Yeah.
Think immortality. Super intelligence.
Right.
Maybe even teleportation.
Yeah.
The whole shebang. Isn't there a difference between transhumanism, which is rooted in science, and Raelism, which frames it all through a religious lens?
Absolutely. It's like Raelism is a funhouse mirror version of transhumanism.
Yeah, like we're looking at it through a distorted lens.
Exactly.
So like instead of getting old and wrinkly, we'll all be rocking super-powered cyborg bodies.
Not necessarily cyborg bodies, but the idea is to use technology to extend our lifespans, overcome disease, and enhance our cognitive abilities.
So no need for a mysterious,
Yes.
all-powerful God in this story.
Right.
It's all test tubes and lab coats. It's like they took the whole we are made in God's image thing and flipped it on its head.
Right.
Now it's we can become like the gods through technology.
It's a utopian vision with a distinctly transhumanist twist.
So instead of praying for miracles, we should be building spaceships and bioengineering ourselves to perfection.
In a way.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Raelism embraces human enhancement technologies like genetic engineering, nanotechnology, and artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
They see technology not as a threat, but as a path to spiritual enlightenment and transcendence.
It's bold. It's controversial. It's probably not going to happen anytime soon.
Right.
But hey, we can all dream, right?
It's also a reflection of our times. We live in an age of rapid technological advancement where the boundaries of what's possible are constantly being pushed. Raelism just takes these trends to their logical, albeit somewhat outlandish, conclusion.
It's all very confusing and a little bit creepy, if I'm being honest. But hey, that's what makes this podcast so entertaining, right?
Pretty much.
So they're all about uploading their consciousness to the cosmic cloud and living forever as digital beings. I've always wanted to be a sentient AI ruling the internet from my digital throne. There's so much more weirdness to explore. We're just scratching the surface here, folks.
Oh, absolutely. Let's talk about Claude.
Oh.
This company, founded by the Raelian Movement, claims to offer human cloning services to achieve eternal life.
Hold up, are they serious?
That's right, folks. They believe you can cheat death by getting yourself cloned.
Human cloning. Like a copy and paste of your entire being. What about wrinkles and bad hair days? Do those get cloned too? How much does a clone cost anyway? Asking for a friend, of course.
Well, they haven't released their price list yet, but I'm guessing it's not cheap. And as for the whole wrinkle and bad hair day situation, I guess you'd have to consult with your cloning specialist. But the idea is that you transfer your consciousness into the new body, so theoretically you'd be free from the limitations of your old wrinkly self.
Okay, so let's say, hypothetically speaking, of course, that I'm ready to trade in this old jalopy for a newer model.
You mean your body?
Yeah. What kind of options are we talking about here? Can I customize my clone, get a six-pack, upgrade my hair follicles, maybe even choose a new personality?
Well, Rael doesn't really go into the specifics of clone customization options.
What a bummer. I was hoping for a cosmic catalog, like Elohim's clones are us. Browse through all the latest models and features.
But he does emphasize that the Elohims have mastered this technology.
They're basically the intergalactic plastic surgeons of the future.
And that they'll share it with us when the time is right.
When the time is right? What does that even mean? Are we waiting for a cosmic clearance sale or something?
Maybe they're just waiting for us to evolve to a point where we can handle this kind of technology responsibly.
Yeah, because handing out immortality to a species that can't even agree on what to have for dinner seems like a recipe for disaster. But seriously, the whole thing is so far-fetched, it's almost laughable. And let's not forget that Claude made headlines back in 2002 when they claimed to have cloned a baby named Eve. As in, Adam and Eve first, humans get it. Subtle. I mean, if you're going to make such an extraordinary claim, you'd think you at least have a baby picture to show for it. Maybe a DNA test.
Yeah.
A birth certificate from planet Elohim. The scientific community basically laughed them out of the room.
Well, the Raelians maintain that the cloning did happen, but they're keeping baby Eve's identity a secret to protect her from the media and presumably any evil government agencies that might be out to steal her alien-infused DNA.
Shocker, they claim the parents wanted to remain anonymous to protect the child. But come on, who wouldn't want to brag about being the first parents of a cloned baby?
But despite the lack of evidence and the widespread criticism, Claude continued to claim they were cloning humans, and they even started offering cloning services to grieving parents who wanted to bring back their deceased children.
Okay, now we're wading into some seriously murky ethical waters. It's like a real-life episode of Black Mirror, only less subtle.
Exactly. The whole idea of cloning a deceased child raises all sorts of ethical dilemmas. What kind of life would that child have, knowing they were essentially a replacement for someone else?
And what about the psychological impact on the parents? It just seems like a recipe for heartbreak all around.
And let's not forget the financial aspect of all of this. Claude was charging a small fortune for their cloning services. It makes you wonder, was this really about scientific advancement or just a really elaborate cash grab?
Right. Were they genuinely trying to clone humans? Or just cloning people's credit cards? We may never know.
It was all so shady.
I wouldn't put it past them to use outrageous claims to bilk people out of money. After all, they've already cornered the market on swastika rehabilitation and interstellar tea parties.
Exactly.
But even if we entertain the possibility they actually managed to clone a human, the ethical implications are mind-boggling.
Absolutely. Cloning raises a whole host of ethical dilemmas. What are the rights of a cloned individual? Who controls their genetic material? What are the long-term consequences of tampering with the very fabric of life?
It's like opening Pandora's box. Once you start creating human beings in a lab, where do you draw the line?
It's a slippery slope. And it's one the Raelians seem all too eager to slide down. They see cloning as a path to achieving scientific immortality, a way to transfer consciousness into a new body and essentially cheat death. They view death as just another problem to be solved, another hurdle to overcome in human evolution.
So many unanswered questions. Like, what happens to your old body?
Do you just throw it out?
And what if you don't like your new body?
Can you return it for a different model?
Big questions.
Yeah.
And Raelism, they may not have all the answers, but they certainly get the conversation started.
That's part of what makes Raelism so intriguing.
It's thought-provoking, even if you don't agree with all their beliefs.
It challenges us to think differently about the nature of life, death, and the possibilities of technology.
I agree. It's a lot to wrap your head around.
Yeah.
And that's what we do here at Cult Report Podcast. We delve into these bizarre, fascinating, and often controversial belief systems.
Right.
Trying to make sense of the senseless.
Yeah.
So, what's next for Raelism? Will they just fade away, or will their spaceship of beliefs keep cruising through the galaxy of New Age spirituality?
It's a good question. I mean, they're facing more and more scrutiny, and even legal challenges in some countries. But they still have a pretty dedicated group of believers who are actively spreading Rael's message.
I guess it's that classic battle between skepticism and belief, right?
Exactly.
But hey, that's kind of the beauty of human diversity, right?
Yeah.
We've got folks who believe in angels and ghosts and reincarnation, and now aliens who want to build an embassy on Earth.
It really is like a cosmic buffet of beliefs out there.
It is.
Yeah.
And everyone gets to choose what they want to put on their plate. You know, after spending all this time delving into their beliefs, I've come to a conclusion.
Oh yeah, and what's that?
Raelians are basically the ultimate optimists.
Optimists, how so?
Think about it. They believe that we were created by super intelligent aliens who are just itching to share their advanced technology and cosmic wisdom with us.
As long as we stop being so destructive and start embracing our sensuality, of course.
Right, the whole free love cosmic orgasm thing.
It's all part of their plan for human evolution.
So basically they think we're just a few sensual meditations away from achieving world peace and becoming a galactic superpower.
That's one way to look at it.
I mean, hey, if I had to choose between that and the impending robot apocalypse, I know which one I'd go for.
I think I'd choose the robots.
Really? You trust robots over aliens?
Well, at least robots are predictable.
True. You never know what those aliens are going to do with their cloning technology and mind control devices.
Exactly.
But hey, that's what makes Raelism so entertaining.
It's like a cosmic soap opera with a dash of science fiction.
And speaking of entertainment, have you guys subscribed to Cult Report Podcast yet? We're serving up the juiciest cult content in the galaxy.
And don't forget to hit that like button while you're at it.
It helps us spread the word about all the weird and wonderful belief systems out there.
Because everyone deserves a little cosmic enlightenment in their lives.
Amen to that.
That's right.
We've gone over their beliefs in those alien creators, their plan for geniocracy, and let's say their very open approach to sensuality.
Yeah, we've covered a lot.
But now it's time to address the elephant in the room. Those accusations of cult-like behavior
Right.
that have been following the Raelian movement for decades.
It's something that we need to talk about.
These accusations range from financial exploitation to psychological manipulation and isolation of members.
Yeah, it's serious stuff.
Hold on, I need to grab my popcorn for this. This is where things get juicy. So spill the tea. What kind of shady stuff are we talking about here?
Well, for starters, there's the issue of Rael's absolute authority within the movement. His word is law, and questioning his teachings is a big no-no.
Okay, so he's basically the cosmic dictator of Raelism. I guess that explains the whole geniocracy thing. Only the smartest people get to rule.
Yeah.
Especially if you happen to be the self-proclaimed smartest person in the room.
Right.
It does create an environment where critical thinking is discouraged and dissent is quickly silenced, which is a classic hallmark of cult-like behavior. Yet not exactly a recipe for healthy debate or personal growth, more like a one-way ticket to blind obedience
Yeah.
and unquestioning loyalty.
Right.
And then there are the allegations of financial exploitation.
Oh, yeah.
Some former members have claimed they were pressured to donate large sums of money or dedicate significant amounts of time and resources to the movement.
Yeah, it's a common accusation.
The classic cult money grab. Promise them eternal life and then empty their bank accounts. Genius. But, well, seriously, how do they justify this? Do they claim the Elohim used a new spaceship or something?
Well, they often emphasize the importance of supporting the movement's goals, like building that embassy for the Elohim and spreading Rael's message to the world.
Right, because nothing says welcome to Earth like a giant golden embassy, funded by the life savings of their followers. I bet the Elohim would be so impressed. But hey, maybe they offer a loyalty program. Donate 10% of your income for 10 years and get a free clone.
Yeah, I haven't seen that deal yet.
And let's not forget about the isolation tactics. The Raelians often encourage members to prioritize the movement above all else, even their families and friends.
That is definitely a red flag.
Classic cult move. Cut them off from their support systems and make them completely dependent on the group.
Now, it's important to acknowledge that not everyone who joins the Raelian movement has a negative experience.
Right. Some people probably just enjoy the community aspect.
Yeah.
Or the sense of belonging. Maybe they're into the whole alien thing or the sensual meditation. Who knows?
Yeah, it's not all black and white.
But the potential for harm is undeniable, especially for those who are vulnerable or seeking answers in a time of crisis.
Couldn't agree more.
And it's crucial to remember that you always have the right to question, to challenge, and to walk away if something doesn't feel right.
You are always in control.
Exactly. Don't let anyone, not even a self-proclaimed prophet who claims to have met aliens, tell you what to think or how to live your life. So on that note, we've reached the end of our deep dive into the wacky world of Raelism.
We've covered a lot.
We've covered alien encounters, cosmic orgasms, human cloning, swastikas, and everything in between. It's easy to dismiss these beliefs as outlandish or even dangerous.
I hear you.
But maybe there's a little bit of Raelian in all of us. That desire to believe in something bigger than ourselves to find meaning and purpose in a chaotic world.
I think you're right.
And that's what makes these topics so fascinating to explore.
Absolutely. It's been a wild ride. We've laughed, we've cringed, we've questioned our sanity.
And hopefully we've all learned a thing or two about the human condition along the way.
Right, and maybe we've even earned the favor of the algorithm gods.
Speaking of which, if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future episodes of Cult Report Podcast. We hope you had as much fun as we did, or at least didn't lose too many brain cells along the way. And hey, if you ever find yourself face to face with an alien who claims to be your creator, don't forget to take a selfie and tag us on social media.
Yes, please do that.
We'll be here to cover it all right here on the Cult Report Podcast.
Just make sure you have your IQ test results handy.
And your blueprints for that embassy.
Until next time, keep your minds open, your skepticism sharp, and your tinfoil hats securely fastened.
And may the Elohim be with you, or not, whatever floats your spaceship. We'll see you next time.
Peace out.